Yo, 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 what up, though? This is your boy C Dot to the B Dot, and coming at y'all again with another video. So, ladies and gems, this is our final week of March to Glory, aka March, and I decided to purposely save this movie for last. Now, it's an independent film, it's an obscure film to a lot of people. There's some people I know who's never heard of this film, but I guarantee you, I guarantee them if they watch it, they'll like it. So I seen this movie a long time ago, only once though, because after that I couldn't find it again until now, which is on Tubi, and that movie is called Redbelt, starring Chiwetel Ejiofor. Excuse me if I butchered the name. I really apologize. But that's the guy that was in 12 Years a Slave, 2012, American Gangster. He was in a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But in this movie here, I believe he was trained in jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, for this role here. And I feel like he did a pretty good job. He's a great actor, by the way. You know what I'm saying? He had to carry this film, and I felt like he did a good job doing that. So another familiar face, well, a couple familiar faces pop up in this movie. One of them was actually Tim Allen, surprisingly. So this is one of the only roles that he played, which isn't a comedic role. You know what I'm saying? So his character in this movie is actually an actor. You know what I'm saying? So how he popped up in the movie, there was a scene where he's sitting at the bar drinking. I guess he was stressed out, and then he started a fight with another bar patron. You know what I'm saying? And the character, Chiwetel's character, he plays a guy named Mike Terry in this movie. So he interferes. You know what I'm saying? Basically saved his life. And Tim Allen's character, his name is Chet Frank. He's supposed to be the celebrity, so he saves his life in this scene. And so from this point on, him and Chet they get cool. And a few days later, he sends him an invitation to his house in this gold watch. It's like a $20,000 watch or whatever. And so Mike has this friend. He's a cop, and he's also Mike's student. And so he's struggling. So Mike decides to take that watch and give it to him instead. Basically to help his family. But we come to find out that the watch was stolen. That part, either I wasn't paying attention or they never, talked about, how the watch was acquired or stolen. So, his wife, Mike's wife in this movie, you know what I'm saying? She's played by Elise Braga, and very pretty actress, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Her acting was her acting was pretty good in this movie, but um, her character, okay, so for a while she stands by him. You know what I mean? Like they're also struggling, and she was basically begging, not begging Mike, but trying to get him to get a loan from her brothers, so they could catch up on some bills and all of that. But she also got stiffed in the movie, and that was by Chet's wife. So what happened was with that, um, when they went to the house for dinner, she got ingratiated with his wife, and so they were talking, and then she made a. It was kind of like an informal deal that they made because she ordered like several different dresses from her. So Mike's wife, she didn't have the money to get the materials to make the dress, so she had to borrow it. She had to get a loan for 30 G's, you know what I'm saying? 30,000. And so later on, how she got stiff is when she called, tried to call Chet's wife, and the number was basically disconnected. So at this point, now they're even further in debt. And so his wife, Mike's wife, decides that she had enough. So not only did she leave, but she also kind of ratted him out too. So when I said she ratted him out, what she did was there was a scene at the beginning of the film, well, near the beginning of the film, where it was this lady. She was like stressed or traumatized because she got violated. We're gonna say that. So she needed her prescription filled, but the pharmacy had closed right before she was able to get the person's attention. They drove off. I guess they didn't see her, so it was too late. And so she went into Mike's school. You know, I guess she was wanting to take lessons because in the beginning, I can't even lie, that part I really wasn't. I think I was doing something else around that part, but she went into the school. I know, and I believe she wanted lessons. So Mike's friend, what I'm saying, the cop, he tries to basically console her because she came in there, what I'm saying, looking like a wreck. And so, you know, since she was traumatized, she felt like the guy, I guess he was trying to violate her. And so he pulled the gun from his holster. She pulled the gun from his holster and accidentally shot Mike's window out. And so this comes back up later in the movie. So Mike, I want to talk about him for a second because he's like the most honest, kind, humble martial artist in any movie. I swear to God, man. Like this dude, he was honest. Like he wasn't really about money. He wasn't about fame. He wasn't about glory. He wasn't about any of that. He was just about the honor. He was about honoring the practices of his discipline. You know what I'm saying? And so later on the movie, I'm gonna talk about this now, but later on in the movie, um, after Mike's wife leaves, and what she did, basically, this is what I'm saying right here when she, basically ratted him out. So she went to the police, right? After the window got shot out near the beginning from the woman, which was a lawyer, by the way. But they saw it as a cover up because Mike's friend, the cop, he never reported it. And then the casing that they found, the bullet casing, was from his gun. So that's how they pretty much, caught him or her, preferably. So they were both going to go down for it. You know what I mean? But it was some kind of lawsuit or something like that that she, well, what she had against them. And if she didn't drop it, then they were going to bring both of them down. Mike and the lawyer. But Mike, he felt obligated to help his you know friend, the cop, because after he found out what happened, I'm talking about the cop. After he found out what happened, um, he pretty much committed suicide because he was going to go down for it as well. You know what I mean? So he pretty much took himself out. So Mike went to his house, and the police and everybody else was over there, and his friend's wife, she pretty much went off on him because she felt like it was his fault that he did himself in because, you know, like I said, Mike was all about honor and his friend didn't want to bring, dishonor to the school. So he decided to do himself in instead because he felt responsible. So there was this huge tournament coming up. And so Mike, he decides to enter the tournament to win the 50 G's, right? To give to, his cop friend's wife. You know what I mean? So Mike found out what was actually going on though. Right before his fight, he found out that the tournament was rigged. So he wanted to, pretty much expose the whole thing to, get it out there because he felt like, it was dishonorable. Because again, the man was very honorable. Like I said, he wasn't about money or none of that. So the champion of the tournament, Ricardo Silva, I said Silva, right? He confronts Mike at this point. You know what I'm saying? So before anything went down, oh, and Dana White was in this movie too. You know what I mean? But anyway, before everything went down, they started fighting in the aisle. And so at one point, Ricardo, he got the best of Mike, but Mike eventually took him out, with a chokehold and rendered him unconscious. And so Mike entered the ring, but before he was able to say anything, the professor, which is played by Dan Inosanto, which is a great martial artist as well. You know what I'm saying? In this movie. And he hands Mike the red belt, which was supposed to be the highest honor. And so after this, they embrace and the movie goes off. So I'm gonna say this right here. This movie it's a little different from your average martial arts action film. It doesn't really have that many fight scenes. It has about maybe two or three, maybe four. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's more of a drama film. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about a man who's struggling, and you know what I mean. And his wife is pretty much not having his back. She's more about the money and everything else like that when he wasn't. But this movie, if you, I'm gonna say this right here, if you're looking for action packed martial arts film, you know what I'm saying, with fancy movements and all that, this ain't the movie for you. But if you looking to watch something deep and something meaningful, this movie may be what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? This won't be everybody's taste. You know what I mean? But I liked it personally. And it's sad to say the movie didn't do so well in the box office. It didn't even make his money back. You know what I mean? But I feel like later on down the line, maybe it would be appreciated for what it is because it came out in 2008. So I feel like it hasn't been out long enough yet to be considered a classic. But again, like I said, I like the movie. You know what I mean? I liked it for what it was. But you can check this movie out on YouTube. Not YouTube, but Tubi. So if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. You might like it, you might not. It's not, like I said, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but you might be surprised. And if I got to give this movie a score, I will give this movie mm, I will give it a I'll give it a 7.5. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it didn't have too many fight scenes in it. It's very realistic, which is not bad by the way, but you know what I'm saying? The lack of fight scenes, um, and the movie was kind of quiet. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it had a score, but it was mostly I can't explain it, but it was a quiet film. It was a very quiet film. You know what I'm saying? But the lack of fight scenes for me, that's why I gave it a 7. So, like I said, check this movie out. You might like it, you might not. And that does it for my review for Red Belts. And this concludes the end of the month for March to Glory. But we will be back next week for April Fools. This time we're going to be talking about comedy films. So stay tuned for that, and I will talk to y'all later. All right? Peace.